for other people to join, please, I would like you to just stay tuned and give us a couple of minutes. Once it's 3 o'clock, we're going to commence the session. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this meeting. My name is Chiboy Wali. I am the lead security expert for ActivEdge, and I manage the threat intelligence team in ActivEdge Technologies. So here with me, we have our presenters. Um, we have Ashraf Abdulazim. Ashraf Abdulazim is secure. He's the one leading and managing the business portfolio for IBM security threat intelligence, threat management in Middle East and Africa. So, and he has actually done quite a lot of projects that has to do with anything threat intelligence, AI, cognitive, better decisions, and holistic visibility for environments, and conducting quite a lot of projects with his team all around Middle East and Africa. So that is Ashraf Abdulazim. Then we have our own guest speaker, Benjamin Maura from ActivEdge Technology. He is also a senior security consultant in ActivEdge Technology. And Benjamin has vast experience in terms of threat intelligence. He has worked with quite a lot of places with vast experience in threat management, penetration, pen testing, and web application, network security, and other areas in cybersecurity. So he also will be part of our presenter for this occasion. So you're all welcome wherever you're coming from different areas, from different places. You all are welcome to this gorgeous occasion. And the theme for this occasion is nothing beyond beyond AI hype in cybersecurity. So basically, what we're here to do is to understand, what it is about artificial intelligence, how we can harness the capability of artificial intelligence in our SOC, in our cybersecurity center and operations center, and to see how we can incorporate this and get more experiences in this area. So, and also, I also want to welcome you because the host of this occasion is ActivEdge Technology, and ActivEdge Technology is the leading organization that's vast in terms of anything that has to do with security. We are actually the leading security company or vendors in Nigeria here and all over Africa. We have our branches in we have our branches in Uganda, in Zimbabwe, in Ghana, in Kenya, and we've been conducting security, profiling security solutions to organizations, to enterprise companies and other places all over the world. So you all are welcome. And so we'd like to go straight to the meat of this program. And on your screen, my colleague will be sending out a poll for us to just fill. And I want you to just take your time, highlight it, and choose so that at the end of this session, we're going to get a feedback from you and also use it as we move forward. So I'd like to hand over this session now to Ashraf, who will take charge of the.
Okay. Thank you very much, Nawali, for the introduction. Hello, everyone. I hope you are keeping healthy and staying safe. That's really the #1 priority nowadays. As Nawali said, my name is Ashraf Abdulazim. I look after threat management in Middle East and Africa for IBM Security. Threat management, basically, it's a Curator as a security intelligence platform, Resilient as a security orchestration, automation, and response platform, and our new innovative hybrid cloud security platform, which we call Cloudpack for security. Okay, before we start, I would like to thank ActivEdge team for having me today with you. It's really a pleasure, and for organizing the session. Okay, today during our session, I will start with a little bit of overview about AI and what is the difference between AI, machine learning, and deep learning, and other topics in that area. Then we will touch on key challenges that facing the cybersecurity departments today in many organizations. And then we will discuss how to address those challenges and how IBM Security can help through our AI offering, which we call Watson for Cybersecurity. We will discuss use cases, how it works, and how to get the best value out of it, and of course of any other AI-driven security technologies. Okay, after this part, we have Benjamin, who will take us through the demo, and a very interesting demo. And definitely will be happy to answer your questions at the end of the session. Okay, so with no further ado, let's start. So AI, you say the word and you feel smarter already, right? And it's really a very hot topic nowadays. But the actual fact that till today there is a confusion and debate about AI. Is that a marketing hype or an actual reality? Studies like the one done by The Verge mention that 40% of the European startups that claim to use AI, they don't actually use AI. Today, if you look at many vendors or cybersecurity vendors, you might find a technology with version 1 that just got released, and they are claiming that they are AI driven SIM technology or SOAR technology or any other cyber security technology. On the other end, I watched recently 2 movies, The Great Hack and The Social Dilemma, and I really I highly recommend for you guys to watch those two movies as well. And you will find actually AI is everywhere in our life. You know, you might be thinking about buying a curtain, same as I was doing 2 days ago. Okay, and suddenly I start to see ads on my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, saying this is the curtain that you are looking for. Okay, and literally I was just thinking, but nowadays with the devices that we have in hand everywhere, with the mics that can, capture some words that you are saying, and the videos that can capture some stuff of that what you are doing, it's very easy for social media platforms to predict your behavior based on AI patterns. Okay, and that's actually what we are going to discuss today. So when we look at AI, machine learning, and deep learning, artificial intelligence is actually any techniques that trying to mimic the human behavior. Okay, starting from the good old-fashioned AI, all the way to the futuristic technologies such as deep learning and others. Okay, machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence. In fact, it's simply a technique for realizing AI. Deep learning is a subset of machine learning. In fact, it's simply a technique for realizing machine learning. In other words, deep learning is the next evolution of machine learning. Deep learning algorithms are roughly inspired by the information processing patterns found in the human brain. Okay, so artificial intelligence is really or building artificial intelligence in your operation or using an artificial intelligence product. It's like building a brain. Okay, a brain that has cognitive, that has computer vision, that has machine learning, machine intelligence, deep learning, knowledge base, and other capabilities. All techniques starting from the good old-fashioned AI till the futuristic deep learning techniques, and all of that is not a simple task to do. All of that takes years to build and maintain that brain to do the right job of mimicking the human behavior and intelligence. And if you look at IBM security and the IBM in general, I believe we have a very well-recognized brand name in AI, which is Watson. And Watson started over 20 years ago. We are building, optimizing that brain for over 20 years ago. And when it comes to cybersecurity, for the variant of Watson for cybersecurity, which we call Watson for cybersecurity, we have been developing that brain, that AI brain, for around 7 years today. Okay, so that's why when we go through the upcoming slide, you will see we have a very clear definition for AI, the use cases, and how it works. But before we jump to that, let's look at some of the current challenges that the organizations face today when it comes to cybersecurity. So the sheer volume, the variety and speed of insights to the analyst, it really makes it difficult to prioritize the work that he needs to do, okay, and to identify the root cause, okay? This is true for companies from all sizes, not only enterprises. And around 93% of the organization are really not able to triage all the relevant threats, okay? And there is a clear view that there is a lot of noise coming in, and there is a lack of insights. Okay, when you look at the analysts and in the cybersecurity departments, and you start to when we discuss with our prospects, the feedback that we usually get that the security analyst, the most commonly used word, that they are overworked, understaffed, and overwhelmed. Okay, tier one analysts are often new to the industry and to the workforce. It takes them time to truly develop the skills, confidence, and maturity in their investigation skills. It's not humanly possible for them to keep up with the ever expanding threat landscape, especially given how busy they are with the day-to-day security operation tasks required in the SOC. Okay, so let's face it, cybersecurity, it's not really uh, an easy job, and unfortunately, we don't have the enough number of resources or analysts that can help us with doing the job in the right way. Okay, but definitely the process can be much better. So, but before we discuss how the process can be much better, it's really important for the organizations to understand where do they stand. Okay, are they on the reactive side, where their cybersecurity operation today is focusing on being compliant, the checkbox mentality? They have some manual processes and they are trying to automate it. They are trying to leverage an ecosystem and the community, or the organization or the cybersecurity department today is on the proactive side. Okay, they are using AI to force multiply the analyst, and they are securing the journey to the cloud and the digital transformation journey. They are enabling the real-time multi-cloud visibility and utilizing modern security frameworks like Attack Miter and others. And when you look at the analyst today, spends a lot of time, analyzing different aspects in his day-to-day operation. At first, he gets a lot of alerts from so many different sources, from endpoints, from network, from data, from users, from threat intelligence. And then he needs to start to analyze the local context around the incident and each incident element, and to start to go to so many different sources and websites like VirusTotal, ThreatGrid, and Google, and many other sources, just to understand if the incident elements are good or bad, and to have some sort of enrichment about what's happening. And then he starts to apply the intelligence that he collected, and to do the investigation and analysis work. And definitely he has to coordinate with all the different teams in the organization when it comes to remediation and response. Okay, and definitely that's taking a lot of time and effort from the analyst, and definitely there is a better way to do that job. Okay, so Watson advisor for cybersecurity. As I was saying, in IBM, over 20 years ago, we started to develop our AI platform, which is Watson. And around 7 years ago, we created a variant from it. We called it Watson for Cybersecurity. And since that time, we are evolving, building more patterns, optimizing the brains that we are building over here. And actually, the main job for Watson for cybersecurity is to empower the security analysts to drive consistent investigations, to help them to be quicker and smarter when it comes to incident response and incident handling, and definitely automating the repetitive work and tasks that they are facing on daily basis, so we save time and effort to make them faster and smarter in the response. Okay, and when we look at at Watson for cybersecurity and how it works, so it's an AI-driven activities that happens across multiple stages in your operation. So first, of course, like most of the security intelligence tools, they collect the data or the log records, and then we have the detection phase, the investigation, analysis, till the response and remediation. And actually, Watson for cybersecurity will be a helping tool in each stage of those. Okay, so Watson for cybersecurity will be helping in the detection, in the investigation through AI-driven investigation, and in the response through all the stages of incident handling and incident response. And when we look at how Watson for cybersecurity actually it works in 6 stages. Okay, so first, we get the offense, as we call it in Curator, or the case, or the alert, or the incident, as it might be called in many other security technologies. Okay, the second task that Watson for cybersecurity will start to do is it will start to gain the local context around the offense or the case, okay, collecting all the relevant information. And it will generate what we call observables. Okay, and observables, basically, it's like metadata, like source IP, destination IP, file hash, URL, and domain. And simply we start to send this metadata, these observables, to Watson for cybersecurity, which will do automatic enrichment according to those observables and according to the use cases and the features and functionalities that we have in Watson for cybersecurity, and we will discuss in the upcoming slides. Okay, so once Watson for cybersecurity will get the observables, it will enrich it automatically with a new context. Okay, and simply we will send that context or the results of our research that based on AI, cognitive, and machine learning, we will send it back to Curator as a security intelligence platform or the same platform that you have in place, so we can start to utilize the new context that we are getting from Watson Advisor to collect more relevant information from the environment itself and show it to you in one single consolidated AI-driven investigation. Okay, so that's simply how it works. We get the case, we collect the relevant information and the local context, we create the observables. Watson Advisor will enrich the observables, okay, and simply this enrichment will be sent as a new context, and that context will be used by Curator or by the security intelligence tool to collect more relevant information, and you see only the result. Okay, and definitely the result is in the same exact offense case or offense interface. Okay, so that's basically how Watson for cybersecurity is working. And when we talked about the enrichment phase or the context that Watson for cybersecurity will be doing, we said we have very clear use cases that enrichment will be happening according to them, and specific features and functionalities that will be used. Okay, so if we look briefly at the use cases, because we will dig into them into the upcoming slide. So first, we have the knowledge base, and we focus on building and maintaining the knowledge base for structured and non-structured data. So we provide a layer of intelligence, that will enrich the new context. We use attack MITRE framework, the techniques, the tactics and procedures. So we align and map all the observables that we have got to attack MITRE. And again, we tell you what's exactly happening at which technique or which technique, tactic and procedure is being used by the attacker, and when we give you recommendation on what's happening next. And then we have our own learning and advising engine, okay, that can help the analyst to make a better decisions. And finally, we have cross investigations analytics. This is basically to show you the related offenses, to tune and optimize your correlation rules, and definitely avoid duplication of work. If we start to dive a little bit deeper in each use cases of those, so Watson for cybersecurity will start to collect all the structured and non-structured data from all the different sources. And when we talk about the structured data, what we mean by structured data, like for example, threat feeds or open source data or indicators or vulnerabilities or malware names or signatures or hashes, anything basically that has a format. And when it comes to the structured data, Watson for cybersecurity is doing like 5 to 10 updates per hour for that type of data. Okay, then we have the unstructured data. And the unstructured data here, like for example, video feeds or music feeds or articles or some information that placed on or written on a website, okay, or in the news, okay. So again, we do a crawl for the unstructured data, like 5 to 10 updates per hour. Then every 1 to 3 days, we do a massive crawl for all the security related data on the web. Okay, breach, attacks, best practices, course of actions, actor trends, and many other stuff. All this data that coming from structured, unstructured, and the massive crawl of all the security data on the web. Okay, then it goes to our filtering and machine learning techniques and tools, and we start to generate for you a layer of intelligence that will enrich the observables that we are receiving from your tools, and actually it can enrich your security intelligence tools directly. Okay, so this is the first one, building the knowledge base and maintaining the knowledge base. It's not really an easy task. It takes years to build, maintain, optimize, re-optimize, and so on. Okay, and that's the first use case when it comes to Watson for cyber security for AI, machine learning, and cognitive. The second use case is for attack meter. So Watson for cybersecurity will automatically take all the incident elements, map it to the techniques and tactics and procedures of attack meter, and show you at which stage exactly is that the attacker is. And we give you the recommendations on about the next action, because basically it's like playing chess. Okay, if you know that the attacker is using that technique and tactic and procedure. Okay, so based on those that technique, tactic, and procedure, we can predict the next move of the attacker, like exactly how we are playing chess, and we give you the recommendation on how to be faster or to be more proactive, and simply you be ahead of the attacker and block this stuff through our recommendations in Watson for cybersecurity. The system comes with cross-investigation analytics. So our relationship diagram will show you all the connected offenses, so you can avoid duplication of work. Okay, and it will, through this graph, you can simply filter. So you can see the bad elements, how they are connected together, and you can connect the other offenses as well. So you can see the holistic view about what's happening. Is it like a simple small incident, or it's a part of a large and bigger targeted attack targeting your organization? And definitely such type of analysis and such type of automation will save a lot of time and effort for the analyst. Another use case is that we have a learning and advising engine. So based on all the historical decisions by the analyst, okay, we can advise the analyst on what to do for each offense or each case, and actually we can do it on his behalf. Okay, so for example, the analyst for all the similar cases, he was deprioritizing them and closing them. So simply when we receive a new case, we tell the analyst, look, for all of this study, you deprioritize the incidents, please deprioritize, or we do it on his behalf automatically. The same for escalations, like every time for specific types, the analyst escalates this immediately to tier 2. Okay, so we can tell the analyst, look, this has to be escalated immediately to tier 2, or we can do it automatically on his behalf. Okay, and all of these use cases are happening in the detection phase. And the detection phase, you have the knowledge base, you have the attack meter mapping, you have the cross investigations analytics, and you have the learning and advising engine. And that's actually part of our automated intelligence engine. Okay, and all of this will be correlated along with the users' views that coming from the UBA, the network views that coming from the NTN, NDR that coming as part of our platform, from the DNS information that coming from the DNS analyzer, and so on. And all of this information will be shown in one single offense interface. Okay. Then when it comes to the response phase, so that's happening in the detection. Then in the response phase, while you are working on the incident, you might find, okay, there is a new element, there is a new threat, maybe this actually part of a much bigger incident, and you will need to do investigations during your incident handling and incident response. And all the use cases that we have just explained are available as well in the response stage to be used during the work on the incident and the response playbook automatically through IBM Resilient SOAR for security orchestration, automation, and response. And that would make really the response phase is more consistent. Okay, so simply we will get automatically the case or the offense or the alert from the same technology. We will build the step-by-step, plan automatically to tell you how to respond faster and smarter, and we will guide you through the response through instructions from NIST, SANS, and US CERT. Then we will trigger automatic enrichment to tell you what's good and what's bad automatically through Watson for cybersecurity and others. And we will allow from the same exact interface to make right-click and query any technologies that you have in your cybersecurity operations today to do further investigations and analysis. And from the same exact interface, you can do fully automated or semi-automated remediation and response by blocking IP on firewall or locking user on Active Directory, or orchestrating a process through raising the ticket through the ticketing system, and so on. Okay, so that AI, cognitive and machine learning, is actually built in IBM security threat management in the detection phase and in the response phase, and definitely that helps your team to respond faster and smarter.
Hello, Ashraf. Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, you have like 2 minutes more to run.
Yeah, that's actually all what I need. Okay.
All right, thank you. Sorry.
So that's actually the knowledge graphs that we were discussing, and you can simply filter according to the threat type. So you can see the connected elements and the holistic view for all the offenses that you have, and you can take action from there in a consistent way across all of this. And for Watson Advisor for cybersecurity, it comes with a scorecard. So simply once you install the app on your system, it will tell you, okay, your system needs to be optimized in 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like some sort of a health check for your environment, and that's what you need to do. Okay, so that's a quick overview about Watson for cybersecurity and AI, and I hand it over now to Benjamin, who will take you through the demo, and definitely we will catch up during the Q&A session. Benjamin, over to you.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Ashraf. So good day, everyone. So I'll be doing a demo based on what Ashraf have discussed about Curator Advisor with Watson. So before I start the demo, I'll just have to give a brief explanation what Curator Advisor with Watson does. So it's more or less like connecting the dots between detection as well as response. So we'll be looking at Curator Advisor in terms of installation as well as configuration and the investigation part of Curator Advisor with Watson. So I'm going to start with the installation and configuration of Curator Advisor with Watson. First of all, let me just say something about it. I'm going to share my screen. Then just a second. Share my screen. Okay. All right. So this is the dashboard of Curator. So before I dive into Curator Advisor with Watson installation and configuration, there are certain requirements that you need to have in order for you to actually get Curator Advisor with Watson running in your environment. Now, when you you go to the IBM Exchange app, you have a lot of apps. You have the UB app, you have the Threat Intelligence app, you have the Curator Advisor with Watson app. But the app, it's at first, you can actually start a 30-day trial, right? You can sign up for a 30-day trial you can use for a period of 30 days, after which you have to pay some penny to actually get Curator Advisor running in your Curator environment. So there are certain requirements which you can actually use the Assistant app, as Ashraf mentioned. There are certain metrics that it needs to check. For example, it looks at the level of number of offenses in your environment. It looks at if you have a few false positives. So if once you pass this check, Curator Assistant tells you that, okay, you can go ahead to install the Curator Advisor with Watson. For example, the current version of Curator Advisor with Watson, which is 2.6, supports Curator version 7.3.3. It comes with requirements of over 1 gigabit of memory. You need to have that running, and you can as well install it on your Apples, which is a separate app that Curator comes with. Now, in order to begin the installation process, I'm going to move through this video, and I'm going to explain what it does. So from looking at the Curator page, this is the admin page. So the way you install your Curator Advisor with Watson is the way you normally install every apps with Curator. You go to extension management, which is right here. You click on it. When you click on the extension management, you get to this small window page that tells you browse to your app. Just cancel this. Okay, so it tells you to browse to your app. When you get to your app, you install it. Once you get it running, you go back to the app section, which is under this part. You click on configuration. Let me see, you get to configuration. Yeah, so this is configuration. When you click on the configuration, a wizard opens. So there are certain checks, there are certain parameters you need to impute in order for you to get Curator up and running. We are more or less like trying to optimize Curator Advisor with Watson. So the first page is the proxy configuration. If you are going to a proxy, you need to put in your proxy parameter. So once you do that, the next phase include the IBM X-Force Exchange credential. Now I'm going to talk about the IBM X-Force Exchange in a bit. Now I made mention of Curator Assistant app. This is one of the things that Curator Assistant app check. It checks if you have the IBM X-Force Exchange credential. You have to impute it. I'm going to show you in a jiffy. Okay, I think I'll stop share my whole screen. Share so that I can share my whole screen. And so this is the Exchange app. So this is the Exchange app. I don't know if you can see my screen. Hello?
Yeah, we can see the Curator Advisor with Watson as an app.
Okay. All right. So this is the App Exchange, whereby you can actually download the app. Once you download the app, you now go back to the extension manager and you run the app. So when you get to the IBM X-Force Exchange credential part, you put in the API. Okay, I'm showing the wrong place. Just one sec. Okay. Can move this guy. Okay. Okay, yeah, so this is the API key. So you can create the API key, you can generate a key, then you come here, you attach it and all that. Then you move to the next phase, which tells you. So when you put in the IBM X-Force credential, what happens is that you are trying to connect to the Watson cybersecurity, right? So in this point, you are sending offense to the Watson cybersecurity for enrichment, because just like Ashraf mentioned, you need to send this offense to the Watson cybersecurity to enrich your offense, because the whole essence of Curator Advisor with Watson is just trying to get that your offense, enrich it with observable, try to attach it to a MITRE attack framework, which we're going to see when we get to the investigation phase. Now, at the license stage, here you accept the license. It tells you it tells you what we do with the offense. You accept the license, and when you get to this, after the license term, you move to authorized service token. Now, in this section, you have two kinds of token. We have the admin token. We have the limited access token. It has to be two. Now, the admin token is attached to the admin user, while the limited access token is attached to a user that has limited right to actually use Watson. So once you pass this stage, you get to the retention policy. The detection policy talks about it talks about the number of days you want to keep your search result. For example, I want to keep my search result for
hello, Benjamin. Hello, Benjamin. We can hardly hear you. I don't know if it's a network issue.
Depends on your requirement, your
Hello, everyone. Sorry for the interruption. I think Benjamin has a network issue from his side, but he'll be joining us shortly. So just bear with us for a moment.
Tell so Nawali, if we have any questions, we can.
Yes. So if there are any questions, I think maybe we could just type it on the chat so that we can just go through them and begin to assign them to responsible to the guests and provide answers accordingly. So while we wait for Benjamin, I would like to run through the first poll results which we had. I think the first poll results was asking about what is AI what is AI and our understanding of AI. So I think most people, which is very encouraging, about 80% of the people said to all of the above. That means that AI has machine learning, uses some scripts to automate respective repetitive tasks, cognitive and deep learning. So I think that's for the first poll results. So it's all of the above. So we'll head over to Benjamin now. So Benjamin,
okay,
over
so
to carry on.
All right, so okay, so when we get to the property mapping phase, which is very crucial in terms of the configuration of Curator Advisor with Watson, we need to actually understand how we need to understand how we can map the properties of a particular log source. Now, when I mean property, for example, imagine you have a proxy server and most of your user goes through a proxy server and you have a payload, which sometimes we refer to as a raw data. And this raw data contain users like your username. And let's say, for example, the standard property username in Curator is not actually passing this particular property. What we can do, we can write a regex. We try to map it to maybe a custom property, which we can call user_name. Now, once we do that, in order for Curator Advisor to actually use this property, we need to come to this point and map it to Curator Advisor with Watson. So once that is done, in terms of investigation, Curator Advisor with Watson can actually flag that particular user, probably going to a malicious site. So this is very important. So whenever we add a log source and we notice that probably certain property we want to monitor is not being captured by the standard property, when we do the customization, the normalization, we can as well come back to this particular page and map it to Curator Advisor with Watson. So the next phase talks about the threat intelligence mapping, which refer to IBM X-Force Exchange, as well as third-party threat intelligence feed. For example, Curator Advisor with Watson supports the default IBM X-Force Exchange, whereby you can actually tie this threat intelligence field to certain references. For example, I want to see some IOCs. IOCs could be, for example, your URL, your domain, your IPs, and all that. So once you create a reference set and you tie it to Curator Advisor with Watson, whenever there's an investigation, Curator Advisor can tell you that, oh, this particular observable is coming from this reference set. It allows you to also integrate third-party reference threat intelligence field, like, for example, your FSI SAC in connection to banks, your AI SAC, and all that. So Curator actually tie all these things together using the threat intelligence app. Now, in terms of the optimization, you can actually optimize Curator in terms of how long do you want Curator Advisor Watson to actually search for this custom property within your log. So you can set the duration, you can say last 4 hours, you can say last 1 hour, last 4 hours, last day, like 24 hours. You can do all these configuration. Now, yeah, the other part of Curator Advisor with Watson, it goes beyond manual investigation. So Curator Advisor with Watson can actually perform some automatic investigation, but you need to set certain parameters. For example, you need to say, okay, for open offenses, or for offenses with status as open, I want you to perform an automatic investigation. So Curator can actually, on its own, perform automatic investigation. And we encourage people to actually tune this side so that Curator Advisor can actually do some automatic investigation. In this case, we are trying to select an offense based on an high-level category called malware. So once that is done, this is it. We are trying to select the offense high-level category based on malware. Once that is done, Curator will now look for any offenses related to high-level category malware and actually investigate it on its own. Now, the last part has to do with the reference set exports. In this case, this is still the reference that I'm talking about. So by default, you have Watson Advisor IP address, which is a reference set based on IP, IOCs. We have hash based on the IOC, domain name and all that. So once you check all these, during the point of investigation, if there's an IOC, right, related to an IP, it tends to put it into the Watson Advisor API. So you can go back to your reference set table and see these are malicious IOCs. So that completes the installation and configuration phase. So I'm going to move to the investigation phase of Curator Advisor with Watson, whereby you can see how Curator connects the dots, how it tends to, enrich your offense. So I'm going to share that part. Just a second. Just a minute.
Hello, Ben. While you share, you have like 3 minutes more to run. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I'm going to do that. Just a second. Okay, so I'm going to do a new share. Okay. So I believe you can see my screen, right? Okay, so this is the offense page. So what Curator Advisor with Watson does is to enrich this offense. So offense has its own observable, like the source IP, it tells you the user trying to connect to a particular server and all that. But Curator Advisor tends to enrich it because just like Ashraf mentioned, it deals with both structured as well as unstructured data. So for structured data, you are talking about the threat intelligence that I mentioned earlier, which could be your IBM X-Force threat intelligence or third party. Now for the unstructured, Curator Advisor can also go and call the website. It has this ability to call websites related to cybersecurity information, and it also filters irrelevant information. So it tends to enrich the offense side of things. So with Curator Advisor with Watson, you are getting more insight in terms of your offenses. So if you look at the bottom part of this part, which is Curator Advisor with Watson, you can actually start your investigation based on this offense, which has an ID of 505. So I'm going to move this part to, so there are 3 stages where Curator Advisor works on an offense. For example, it tends to look at the local content, just like Ashraf mentioned. It looks at what you have within your environment. It tends to enrich that offense by trying to connect to Watson cybersecurity. It tends to go through these phases until it tends to connect the whole dots. So what Curator Advisor for Watson is doing is more or less like enriching the existing offense, which we're going to see in a second. So now if you look at this whole part, yeah, so this is still the offense page. We have different aspects. We have the threat actor, in this case it is 0. We have the malware family, which is 1. We have high value asset, which is 6 in this case. And we have the risky user, which is 0. So the beauty aspect of Curator Advisor with Watson, it can actually integrate with your UBA app. So it can tell you what your users are doing at that point. Now, if you look at this, we have Black Post as our malware family. If you get to the high value as well, about 6 value asset, and when you look at related investigation, yes, Curator Advisor with Watson can actually connect the dots. It can relate, it can connect previous investigation and say, okay, this investigation is connected to this particular based on some shared observable, like for example, the same source IP, the same URL, the same file hash, and all that. So Curator Advisor also tends to actually integrate with MITRE attack framework. So we are aware that MITRE attack framework contains about 14 tactics and over 600 techniques. So there are certain inbuilt rules that Curator Advisor tends to see. So for example, if there's a rule pointing to a particular technique, let's say in this case, initial asset, Curator Advisor will tell you that, oh, this particular offense is related to this particular tactics, which in this case is initial access as well as persistence. So if you look at the persistent tactics, we are looking at several observable, which is the IP as shown in the screen. So the most important part I want to show before I end this investigation because of time is the graph relationship. Let me move this because of time. Just get to, so if you look at this part, we are looking at related investigation. So you can see that investigation 500 is related to offense 444, 450, 460, right? So there's a relationship. So it gives you that connection. So it's not separating these offenses. So this is the graph relationship. So what this part does is to show, connect the dots. So it connects what a user is doing, what kind of site is he visiting. It tells you, it gives you information based on a particular node. For example, if we click on a node, which is in this case Tom Wilson, it gives you information related to Tom Wilson. For example, it tells you the toxicity of Tom Wilson, which is 10 of 10, something critical. It tells you about the MITRE attack involved, yeah, which is persistence and as well as initial access. Now, if you look at the persistence tactics.
Sorry, Ben. Hello, sorry. We've actually run out of time. So I think so that we'll give our guests time to ask questions, because I can see from the chat, there's a lot of questions on the chat. So, and please, whoever needs more clarification and more of insight from this, you can actually reach to us personally via our customer support line, and we'll get back to you. So any individual from any organization, you need more information, like in-depth information on this, please reach out to us. Our support line will be typed on the chat here, so everyone can access it. Send your email or send a request and we'll attend to you. Sorry, because of our time, we'll have to round up at this point so that we'll give time for questions. So from the question, from the chat, I can see someone was saying, okay, yeah, the session is recorded and the recording will be sent accordingly. Then, okay, so another person said, how seamless is its integration with some other cloud platform? That's Anthony Okwo. Okay, he's asking how Curator Watson, if I'm not mistaken. Anthony, if you can clarify if you're referring to Curator Watson, the integration with other cloud platforms. Is it what you're asking? Okay, yes. So Anthony Walker is asking, how is integration of Curator Watson with other cloud platforms? So I will allow Ashraf to answer at this point. Thank you.
Thank you, Nawali. So Anthony, thank you for the good question. So we have visibility with IBM Cloud, Amazon, and Microsoft, and we support integration with those along with others.
All right. Okay. So another question is, can it work with third-party application? So I think it's also related to what you answered. So you can go ahead to answer. Sure.
Yeah. So we have actually two versions from Watson for cybersecurity. The first one is the one that Benjamin was doing the demo for it right now, and that's mainly for Curator. But the other version is agnostic. It can work with any SIEM technology, or it can work with any third parties.
All right. Okay. So is there any more question from any other person? Please kindly type it on the chat. While I go through the second poll results. Okay, so the second poll result was talking about, do you use AI in any way in your security operation today? So the first answer was yes, I am using it in my SIEM. Then the second one was yes, I'm using it in investigation. Then the third one answer was yes, I'm using it in response. Then the fourth one is no, I don't use it at all. Then the last but not the least, yes, I use it in detection, investigation, and response. So from this poll, we have about 20% of the people here saying yes, I use it in the SIEM. So which is quite which is quite impressive. Then 25% says, yes, I use it in detection, investigation, and response. Then the last 55%, which is the majority, says no, they don't use it at all. So I think that is the essence of this meeting, this webinar, so that we can shed more light on this. So Ashraf, do you have anything to say concerning these poll results?
Yeah, it's the actual reality, right? And that's why most of the prospects that we are speaking to, they have a lot of challenges regarding like how much work they have to do, how much time they have to spend, you know. And definitely there is a clear need for using technologies like AI, automation, you know, to save the time and efforts of those analysts and to help the organizations to focus really on what's really matter. Okay. And the main task in hand, which is identifying and responding to cyber threats.
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. Sorry. Yeah, okay. All right, that's fine. So thank you very much, everyone. So there's a question here and from Samson. And Samson is saying, does it have API that it exposes integration with third party? So does it have an API endpoint
Yes.
you can expose it to?
Yeah, IBM, actually one of the key strategies for IBM is to have open platform. So all our tools and products are based on open platform, and that allow you to communicate and to work with the platform in various ways. So API, different types of communication protocols and many other methods as well.
All right. Okay. Another question. Another person is asking. I think that's from Chibuzo Arukwe. He says, please, what is the difference between Curator Advisor with Watson functions for resilience and Curator Watson Advisor? So yeah. So then the next follow-up question is, as both apps are on X-Force, what is the difference between both? So
okay, so actually they use Benjamin, would you like to take this one, or should I answer it? Okay, so basically the use cases, the functionalities are exactly the same. Okay, so the use cases for knowledge base building and maintaining the knowledge base, the attack meter mapping, the learning and advising, you know, engine, along with the cross investigation analytics and the other functionalities, all of them are in the same. The main difference is that we have Curator for Watson Advisor in the detection phase and for Resilient in the response phase. Okay, because when you start to work, like for example, Curator will be using Watson for Cyber Advisors to eliminate the noise or to reduce the noise and give you the right insights, the right problems, the right alerts that you need to work on. Okay, so it will help you to save a lot of time and effort when it comes of spending that time and effort on false positives and unreal alerts. But in Resilient, once you have the insight from Curator, you start the response phase. The response phase is based on security orchestration, automation, and response. And in this phase or in this process, you will find, like most of the time, most of the analysts, when they go through the steps of the response, they will find more artifacts, more incident elements, some bad elements. Even they might find it's not only a specific type of incident, it can be a malware that's happening during a system intrusion or something like this. Okay, so in such a case, in each step of the response, Watson for cybersecurity will be feeding the same exact use cases to the work that you are doing automatically, which is very, very helpful because such information is really critical in making a lot of decisions when it comes to the response and the remediation and identifying the root cause in your operation.
All right, thank you. Another question is, hi, it says, are there emerging emerging technologies such as descriptive analytics and machine learning that can help CISO and for SOC management. Are there tools on AI in the market currently?
So predictive and destructive analytics, machine learning, and deep learning, machine intelligence, all of those, like at the beginning of the session, we described the difference among them and how each one of them is a subset from the other. And to be honest, the clear fact, okay, that everyone's saying we have AI. Everyone's saying we are working on predictive analytics and the machine intelligence and machine learning, okay? But to be honest, like many of those are focusing on the marketing element of it, because once you say AI, you get the attention of anyone, okay? So my advice, you will find almost every single vendor you are speaking to, he's saying, I'm using AI. But the question that you should ask him very clearly, okay, what are the use cases that you are doing? What are the key features and functionalities? Okay, because that's really the main difference. Everyone's saying we are last year a new SIM technology from a very well-known vendor just got released. Okay, and everything in the marketing and on the websites and the positioning, it's saying it's AI-based SIM technology. Okay, but come on, like for building AI, it's like building a brain that will take years to to train and to enhance and to optimize. And this is definitely something that doesn't happen in 1 year or in a version 1 product. Okay, so that's my advice. Like qualify very carefully the vendors that you are dealing with when it comes to AI, machine learning, and code.
All right. Thank you, everyone. If there are no questions from the participants, we would like to thank Ashraf from IBM and for this session, and we also want to thank Benjamin Maura for anchoring this session. Thank you so much for your participation. I would also like to hear from our MD, the Managing Director for and the CEO for ActivEdge Technology, Mr. George Ago, to give us his opinion and also let us know more about this. Thank you, sir. Over to you, sir.
All right. Let me start by appreciating our customers for indeed participating so actively in this webinar the way they have done. I mean, the turnout is quite impressive, I must say. We live and exist and survive because of the role that customers play in our business. We take it very seriously. This is one of many webinars we're going to be unleashing over the next 8 months of the year. Let me also thank Ashraf. Ashraf, you look quite impressive, and Benjamin and Chibueze for coordinating this. Mine is really to appreciate you. I mean, we're gradually getting out of COVID, which has kept all of us and our friends away from us, and we haven't seen your faces for several months now. I'm really hoping that a few of us can turn on our videos so that we can say hi to some that have been very close to us that we haven't seen in a long time. Wherever you are, please let us say hi. And as much as we can't really come so close to each other for precautionary reasons, I do hope that sooner rather than later, we'll have the opportunity of meeting and shaking hands and getting to do the big stuff that we're known for. ActivEdge Technologies pride itself in its technical competence. As a matter of fact, our slogan is incompetence, intolerance. And I'm so glad that a lot of my people are really picking it up with it. I can see Zakaria, I can see Osato, I can see Adiza, I can see Anthony. Why can't many of us really show up? And then today is Friday, come on, show up, man. So thank you guys, thank you Festus, thank you, who else is showing up? Come on, you guys are adding weight, looking bigger. I thought this is not the way you looked the last time I saw you. Look at Chibuzo, sorry. You guys are looking cool, man. I thought I'm the only one that added weight. I think we should attempt to kind of organize a marathon so that some of this weight can drop somewhere.
Yeah.
Anyway, so thank you so much. Quite impressive, I must say. I do hope that based on your feedback, we have reasons to contact you, make some follow-ups. I know some of us, Adiza and Osato in particular, are asking a lot of questions about how they can get a lot more out of Curator, and some are already asking questions, how can they save more from the investments they're making. We have taken note of these things and be sure we're very sensitive to your concerns and your needs, and it's going to get better. It can only get better. That's all I can say. Chima, thank you very much for showing up. Thank you so much. You guys look great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Ashraf, do you have anything to add before we round up?
No, thank you very much, George. Actually, I am very thankful for this session. And I am dying for face-to-face meeting, honestly. Like my first face-to-face meeting was like 2 weeks ago. And I was like, oh my God, jumping from happiness. And it was amazing. And actually like 80% of my time, I am traveling on an airplane. So hopefully very soon, very, very soon, I jump on an airplane again and I come visit Nigeria and meet all the interesting people face to face. I'm really looking forward.
Okay, excellent. From the customer voice, anybody from customer end wants to say something?
Maybe I just said that it was a very good and enlightening section. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks. If I can still quickly chip in something. When are we going to run the check against our own infrastructure to be sure that we are Watson ready? Chibueze, Benjamin. I'm eager for you guys to do that, eh?
Yeah, very soon. Of course, definitely. We'll reach after this meeting. Yeah. All right. So thank you, everyone. We're so in fact we're so happy. You can see the excitement from all the participants, the presenters, and even the MD himself. Everyone very, very excited. And we would like to thank you so much for participating in this webinar. And lastly, before we go, we would like to let you know that we have, if you see on the link on the chat, you see ActivEdge Technology. Thank you. It's a link for you we have a complimentary an ebook for you to also read. And to access that, you have to go through that link, activedgetechnologies.com/thank-you, to access that ebook to get more information on this. So thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Sorry we took more of your time, and we say thank you, and we hope you reach to us very soon, and we look forward to your feedback as well. You go through the link, and also you can also contact us on info@activedgetechnologies.com for more information, and get back to us as soon as you can. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you to Team ActivEdge. Thank you to IBM. Bye.
Thank you, Adiza. Thank you, everyone.